I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I guess we can call this Trump Day today, and it's going to be that way for the rest of this year when the indictments start falling. But I want to take a close look. I raised the question the other day, what would America look like if Trump becomes president again? And he has a better chance of becoming president than Ron DeSantis or Joe Biden at this present moment. And those odds might get better with the indictments. And that's just my prognostication. And I could be wrong on that. I don't, but here, we have an example now, because we can look at what's happening in the Holy Land and the nation of Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu, who was ousted from office for a year, made it back to office. While he was in office, the first time, he was in investigation for, extortion, bribe taking, bribe making, money handling, just a lot of silly stuff like taking champagne and cigars and hustling a lot of people coming to Israel for state visits. And he's still in it, so he got ousted. And they put a quasi-Muslim boy and man and the prime minister of Israel. What Netanyahu was able to do is put together a Likud party and get enough votes back in the Knesset to get him back in power. So he's now returned to power, Netanyahu has. And now that he's returned to power, he's making an attempt to deconstruct the Supreme Court or the structure of judges in Israel, and effectively taking away what is the constitutional democracy of the state of Israel, because with the deconstruction of the court, then many laws can be taken away, and Netanyahu can do things without, the democratic, and there have been literally over 1 million people marching in the streets, I think last week. That's in Tel Aviv. And there have been marches going on now for several weeks, unrelenting, of people opposing Benjamin Netanyahu, trying to pull an autocratic job on what was really a theocracy based on a democratic status. But now, and the other thing is that a large number of people think that what Netanyahu was doing in Israel is trying to get rid of the Supreme Court, so when his case finally goes to trial, he will not be sent to jail. So you see what I'm saying? If Trump becomes president again, we're going to see the same thing going on here in America that we see going on in Israel. And this is not the best, probably, time to deal with this, because I need a whole lot more time. But I just wanted to drop this because I started it on yesterday and didn't complete it. But I'm going to let you listen to a clip of some of this being explained by Richard Quest, I think is the one who going to talk to us about this.
2 months of protests on the streets of Israel, with the demonstrators coming from all corners of Israeli society. Here there's a growing fear democratic values are under threat. An unprecedented overhaul of the Israeli legal system could dramatically shrink the powers of the Supreme Court and hand sweeping new authority to the Knesset, Israel's parliament. The new rules would prevent the Supreme Court justices from striking down legislation passed by lawmakers. The rules would change the way judges are selected, giving more power to politicians. And it would allow for a simple majority in the Knesset to overturn rulings from the court. Behind the plan is a new ultra-right coalition government, led by long-standing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The Prime Minister has tried to frame this plan as mere constitutional housekeeping, making things better. Israel's long-standing commitment to liberal values and the rule of law has helped the country attract many billions of dollars of investment from Western companies. The country's far-right finance minister says that judicial reforms will attract even more investment. However, one of Israel's former central bank governors strongly disagrees with that proposal.
I look at Poland, I look at Hungary, I look at, much more extreme, Turkey. Everywhere where the judicial system has weakened, economic performance has weakened, foreign investment has declined.
Doubts about Israel's economic future appear to be growing. The shekel has already fallen sharply as credit agencies warn Israel's rating could suffer. And leaders in the tech sector fear investment could move elsewhere. Despite all this opposition, the government here is forging ahead and hoping to pass the new laws by Passover.
You know, I would have never imagined that Israel, they've been going to reestablish Israel as a state back in 1948, I think it was. I've been to Israel, and I obviously have studied Israel, modern and postmodern and ancient Israel. I would never have thought that this would happen. But I think that for a person such as myself, who like to look at things from a theological lens, is that Israel and America, the Jewish nation and the Christian nation, are both experiencing the same thing. Does this portend the fact that Netanyahu was under indictment, ran for prime minister, and won it again? Benjamin Netanyahu was under indictment for a whole lot of stupid stuff, won the election again, and now he's prime minister again. Does it portend that the same thing's going to happen to Trump? You know, I would never have dreamed of this, even with looking at everything from a theological, spiritual lens, that both America or Israel would reach the state that we're in. But it looks like we're headed in the same direction. Now, the protesting in the streets of Israel is just unprecedented. And I think that the last speaker was right, that the more Israel moves to an autocratic rather than a democratic state, it's going to weaken investments in Israel, and its economy is going to shrink. Though Israel depends largely on the 14 million Jews around the world to support its economy, it also needs investments, and it needs to import and export to other nations as well. And people may find some other nation other than Israel is to do their bidding. But the similarities of this, and this is my first take on doing this story of what would happen if Trump becomes president again, because I find it fascinating theologically and also in terms of political, geopolitical, because it looks like we're headed in the same direction. But the thing that's so interesting about this is that while America and Israel are crumbling, their governments are destabilizing, crumbling, China and Russia are solidifying their ties, their objectives, their global objectives. Listen, man, Russia attacked America yesterday. Something else happened. I'm trying to figure out what it was. Russia attacked America yesterday by attacking one of its drones. You said there was nobody in it. That was an act of war. And that drone went down in the Black Sea. A month ago, was it that far long ago? China attacked America by sending a balloon that floated over America for 5 days. That was an act of war. Is anybody out there paying attention? Is anybody awake at the switch? You say, Pastor, man, you're just a warmonger. You're just ready to go to war. Well, man, listen, man, I ain't done. I'm just reporting on the stuff. Yesterday over the Black Sea, a Russian jet with America's drone spying on what's going on behind the lines over there in the Ukrainian war, right? Putin sent a jet up, a MiG up there to knock it down, and he knocked it down. Knocked it into the Black Sea. No, he did. Kind of risky, but they did it. They figured out the maneuvers, knocked it down. And they're going to knock some more down. That's an act of war. Now, you could try to, sit at the table and say, well, we're going to start throwing bombs at one another. But Russia's already attacked America. But America's already attacked Russia through, proxy through Ukraine. We'll get to that later. But then China, which is Magog, sent a balloon floating over America for 5 days. We don't even know if we are real. No, we don't know what air we're breathing. We don't know nothing about what China did. And they shot it down off the coast of South Carolina. That's what they said. So we've been attacked twice by Russia and by China. And what's America doing? And the reason being is because America has put his hand with Zelensky in the fight against Russia and the Ukraine. So it's on. And I'm going to continue so we can kind of, whether Trump will become president again, he probably right now, if you ask me, and if you ask me, I believe Trump has a better chance of becoming president than Joe Biden does. Because I think a lot of people that voted for Biden, on the tails of Obama and were angry at Trump are angry at black people now. And the economy tanks and people start losing money and banks start closing. I never thought I'd see Credit Suisse in any kind of financial trouble. They're supposed to be Geneva, the Switzerland, the nation of, neutrality. We don't fight wars with nobody. We don't get mad with nobody. Everybody's our friend. And Credit Suisse, being one of the par excellence, if you will, premier, if you must, banking industry is in deep financial trouble. And I just saw something today about Republic Bank now being, you got Republic Bank here in New York, and I think it's run by Jewish bankers, Jewish corporate owners and trust. And anyway, so I guess today it's all Trump day, all day, all day. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back with some stuff that Lawrence O'Donnell, I don't know if I have time to get it all. I'll probably have to do half of it today, half of it next time you and I get together. But I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back with what Lawrence O'Donnell is now reporting as a massive number of indictments coming out of Atlanta, Georgia with Fannie Willis. If she lives long enough, survives, I should say, not live, somebody going to try to kill her, if she survives long enough as the district attorney to bring the indictments.